Hey there everybody, welcome back to MedEd Insights. My name is Brian and I'm a second year physical medicine and rehabilitation resident at Mayo Clinic. And this YouTube page is dedicated to helping you all get through medical school and residency by sharing my own personal experiences and insights from my own experience in medical school and here in my residency training program. Today's another video for all the fourth years out there that are getting ready to apply for residency soon in the coming weeks. Today we're going to be talking specifically about how do you answer this question of how many programs should I be applying to when it comes to residency applications. Now, my own experience is based on interviewing in physical medicine and rehab, which is probably a little bit different compared to other specialties, but I think this is a general approach that's a little bit unique and can be helpful in different situations for some of you all out there. The approach that I took when trying to decide how many programs I should apply to was I worked backwards. And by that I mean, instead of starting at however many number of residency programs there are in the country, I started backwards from how many programs do I want to rank, and then did some little calculations and steps to figure out, going backwards, how many programs I should be applying to start with. And I want to start off by giving you probably one really helpful tip. There's a website out there called medmap.io. Extremely helpful website. It basically has all the different residency programs mapped out to where you can select the specialty that you're interested in, and then it'll pop up with all the different programs out there and where they are. And for anybody who's really more interested in kind of geographical locations and just getting a sense of where all these programs are, it's a really awesome resource. Go check it out. I think it's fantastic and really, really helpful. So like I was saying, my approach was to work backwards. And there's a lot of different stuff out there about how many programs you should be ranking in order to give you the best chance at matching into your specialty. Now, granted, this varies a lot based on how competitive your field is and based on your own scores. So this is very general and generic advice, but an approach that you can take and adapt to your situation. So let's say, for example, that I know that I want to rank 10 programs in order to give myself the best chance at matching. Now, the first step in working backwards is first go to how many programs you think you'll want to even interview at in order to decide how many you're going to rank. And now this may seem like a strange question, but there's probably gonna be some places that you interview at on the trail that you're gonna absolutely hate and you're not gonna wanna train at and you're gonna choose not to rank. So let's say that's, 3-4 programs or so. So then take that number, add it to the number of programs that you want to be able to rank, and that gives you the number of interviews that you want to go on. The next step is to take that number of interviews that you want to go on and try to determine how many interview invitations you need in order to go on that many interviews. And again, something you're going to run into as you go throughout this whole process is you're probably going to get more interview invites than you actually want to go on. So let's say, for example, you decided that you want to go on 15 interviews. Well, maybe you're going to actually get like 20 or so interview invitations. And so that's really the final number you want to settle on in terms of how many interview invites you think you need to receive in order to ultimately end up at that 10 programs that you're going to rank. Now, the last step in all this is to take that number of programs that you want to get invites from and try to decide how competitive you think your application will be in terms of what your success percentage will be from applications you send to actually getting an invite. And by this I mean, let's say you're an extremely competitive applicant, and based on talking to other people in your field or talking to residents before you feel like you're about 50% successful in terms of submitting an application and actually getting an interview invitation. So that means if you want to go on 20 interviews and you're gonna have a 50% success rate of getting invites, then you need to apply to 40 programs. Obviously, this 50% number is probably too high and probably not conservative enough for a number of people. But similar thing, let's say it's 25%. So you think that, 1 out of every 4 applications you send off, you might get an interview invite. Then simply take your 20, multiply it by 4. This is one approach that I think is really helpful because whenever you're on ERAS and you're looking at just the sheer number of programs in your field, it can be really, really overwhelming trying to decide, gosh, do I apply to 100? Do I apply to 50? Do I apply to 200? Where do I even start? And so one thing that can kind of help simplify it for some folks is to work backwards. So again, start at the number of programs you want to rank, adjust that number to get an actual estimate of how many interviews you want to go on, and then look at how competitive your application is to try and decide how successful your applications will be in terms of actually getting interview invites, and use that as a rough estimate to determine how many applications you should submit. At the end of the day, of course, the odds are in your favor if you submit more applications, so I would always err on the side of being more conservative and submitting more applications than you think you might need, because let's be honest, it's much easier to cancel interviews down the road than it is to try to resubmit your application to more schools. So err on the side of caution, but try to use this approach if you're really stuck with how many places you should apply, and maybe it'll be helpful for you like it was for me. That's it for this video, everybody. Thank you for watching. As always, let me know if you have any questions about this or want some additional advice or suggestions on maybe how to think about this question in terms of how many programs you should apply to. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe as always if you like watching these videos, and we'll talk next time. Thanks, everyone.